Silent protagonists in video games. They're pretty common, especially in RPGs. But are they really necessary? Would they work better if they were voiced characters instead? Well, first let's talk about what I exactly mean by a silent protagonist. There are a lot of games with silent protagonists, but what I mean specifically is in games that can actually have voice acting. I'm not expecting like Super Mario Bros. On the NES to have voice acting. I'm talking about examples where the main character actually has character. They have an impact on the story and events, they just don't talk almost ever. Let's talk about some examples of this. Like I said earlier, there are plenty of them in RPGs, like Ren, aka Joker in Persona 5, the heroes in the Dragon Quest games, or Violet in Fire Emblem Three Houses, or a lot of other Fire Emblem protagonists. All of these protagonists matter to the story, directly leading what happens in it, but they barely talk. They have a few lines here and there, like Joker saying Persona! Or Violet saying
Allow me to demonstrate!
After battles, which begs the question, why don't they talk more often? It's not like it's a budget problem, as all the characters around them talk a lot. The problem is immersion. When you're playing a game, you are the main character. That sounds obvious, but what I mean is the main character is a representation of you. So when the main character has their own personality and character arcs, they could potentially stop feeling relatable to you. This doesn't actually happen often, but with silent protagonists, that literally can never happen because they don't have a distinct personality. Your personality is their personality. With that, you can do whatever you want in the game. So in something like Persona, your personality is represented in the game. And the choices you make, like which confidant/social link you work on and the relationships you make are unique to you. This also allows you to name your character whatever you want. You can name the character based on yourself or just create a whole new character for a playthrough with a specific name and personality, which that can add to replayability in a game. But the thing with silent protagonists is that it's pretty difficult to have a character never talk throughout a story-driven game. The previous examples I gave, Joker and Violet, both still have voice lines. They also both have a specific character. Joker, or Ren, is a super cool high school student who's the leader of the Phantom Thieves. Violet is a teacher and leader in a fantasy medieval setting. You can't change those aspects of the characters, which means there's still boundaries for the freedom you get with a silent protagonist. The reason those characters aren't like custom characters where it doesn't matter what they look like, or you can customize entirely, like the hair and everything, is because those characters still matter for the roles in the story. Like you still need a Phantom Thief main leader character that has to be in school, so they decide to make Ren. On top of that, these characters still have default canon names, so being able to change their name can just complicate things for side projects like spin-off games or collabs. So is it still even worth having a silent protagonist then? Well, a silent protagonist can still work, like seen in Zelda. Let's talk about Link. His name represents the link between the player and the world, and he worked pretty similarly to the other examples I gave, like being able to rename him. Obviously, the games weren't capable of having voice acting back in the NES days when he was made, but as technology kept improving and voice acting became an option, Nintendo eventually felt that Zelda should have voice acting. This took up until Breath of the Wild, because up until then, like in Skyward Sword, it was still just text. All the characters in Breath of the Wild have voice acting except for Link. It's kind of weird because the characters actually refer to him as Link in the voice acting. Like for example in Persona 5, they don't actually straight up say Ren. Like they call him Joker because that's his title, but then let's talk about something else like Fire Emblem Three Houses. They never say Violet's name specifically. All of that is just text you have to read. But in Breath of the Wild, they actually do refer to him as Link. That's why you can't name him anymore. But he still doesn't talk to stay true to his identity. So they basically turned him into a proper character while staying true to his roots. I think this works really well because he's still a silent character for a reason, and his silence lets you focus more on the world than whatever Link keeps talking about. It also works for story reasons, like I explained in my Zelda video. Link doesn't talk, so he doesn't show his burden of being Zelda's knight, which I think that's also really cool because there's multiple layers for him being silent rather than just a reference, or them not feeling to give him a voice actor. Even though he still has a voice actor with his like sounds, like when he's climbing or fighting, like the, yeah. Link is a good example of a silent protagonist working, but it's a super specific example of a long-running series adapting while staying true to what it is. It works for Zelda for like specific reasons. So then can silent protagonists still work really well without something like that? Well, to me, I'd prefer a story without a silent protagonist, as the voice acting can help me learn more about the protagonist, seeing their personalities, and can end up being more immersive if I relate to them. But I think there's definitely a place for silent protagonists though. It allows for flexibility in the character's traits, especially in these RPGs. You get to play more roles since you aren't restricted by the protagonist's traits, while still being a hero or a Phantom Thief leader or a teacher in the middle of a fantasy war. So do silent protagonists still have a place? Yes, they do. Even if I might not like it as much because I prefer playing games and learning about new characters rather than trying to envision my own or create my own within a story, some others might like the latter more. It allows for creativity in these story-driven games. And even if it might lessen some moments because your character's name can't be properly acknowledged, I think it's a fair trade-off. And for some games, it works really well. And at the end of the day, does it really matter if the game is still good? Anyways, make sure to tickle that subscribe button and have a good one.